This is Gail. Welcome to my Bodacious live stream tonight. We're talking again about challenges that are faced by service dog handlers. Laurel's going to be joining me shortly. We have Pennsylvania Railroad that's already here. Hi, Pennsylvania Railroad. It's good to see you. So last week we talked about some challenges that service dog handlers have to overcome. Service dog handlers are also service dog owners. The two terms are somewhat interchangeable in that if you have a service dog, you are a service dog handler. But the general public sometimes doesn't use that term, and that's okay as long as they realize that we're out with a service dog, right? So that's a big thing. So we're going to be talking about, some of the challenges that go with not just a regular sized dog, but Laurel's going to be joining me because she has Candy, the wee service dog, and Candy is a Chihuahua mix. So she is going to be sharing some about her experiences because hers are very different than mine. And mine, with the service dog that I have now, is very different than some of the challenges that I had when I had Tomlin, that was my first service dog. So service dogs under the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, they can be any breed, any size, any dog, but they also, under the heading of service animals or assistance animals, we have miniature horses that also fit under that. And I think a lot of people are really surprised to find out that a miniature horse can be a service animal. But they guide, and they don't necessarily alert, but they guide, and they can pull wheelchairs, and they're very aware of sounds. So they're being used more frequently now than they were. Hey, Peter Parker's in the house. Peter, how are you doing? That's a big question I have. So those are some of the things about service dogs. Now, every service dog handler, every service dog owner, when we go out with our dogs, we're likely to have access issues. We're likely to have people just generally complain. I was at the physical therapist's office the other day, and look, I don't have my brace anymore. But anyway, more about that in a minute. But I was there and was getting ready to leave. I'm at the desk. I'm ready to sign out. I've got service dog Pipsy with me. And a woman looks at me and she says, "I don't like service dogs. Back away." I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I don't like dogs. I don't like being around dogs. I am not a dog person, and I don't want you next to me." So that was a little bit, there's a lot of ways I could handle that. So I opted for just going ahead and walking away. There are times when I would not have done that, but you have to, or at least I feel like you have to be as nice as possible when you run into somebody like that, because they may not know service dogs, they may not understand, they may just be generally confused. But now, legally, I have to be able to take my service dog with me, right? So as far as like technically legal, then yeah, I was fine. But as far as not wanting to cause a scene, I really wanted to keep that fine too. So yeah, so that's some of the things. Big service dogs, like I said, and small service dogs have different access issues. And some of those are related to size. Also, one thing that I ran into when I had Tomlin Tomlin was a husky mix. So he was a larger dog and he was fluffy and whatnot. But one of the things that I ran into with him was size related. And some people, when they saw that he was a husky, they would just kind of automatically back up. So we still had people try to stop us and talk to us and want to pet the service dog, which you're not supposed to do. But it wasn't as often as what I have now with service dog Pipsy. I think that there's a couple of reasons that I think for that. One is, people associate labs as being great family dogs, which they are, no question. But they get used to seeing them as family dogs, and so they forget that they're also used as service dogs. And I think that there is confusion, let's say, about that. So yeah, so I have that. Okay, Peter, I'm sorry to hear that. So I'm going to pull up a couple of photos here so you can see what I mean about the different sizes and how I could have more trouble with one dog and not as much trouble with the other one. And that goes for access issues. It goes for space issues. It goes for general harassment from the public. And I'll talk more about how to combat some of that. But first, let me share a photo of service dog Pipsy so you all can get an idea of what I'm talking about. And if you have not subscribed or given me a like on the live stream, go ahead and do that. Okay. And let's see here. Share screen. Yep. Okay. I'm still working on this, on learning all this. So give me just a second. There we go. I have switched from StreamYard to Streamlabs, chiefly because of expense. Okay, so there you are. We have service dog Pipsy. We've been at a picnic all day. He had a great time, but we've loaded him back up in his car. Now, one of the things that I think also in some ways causes me to have less access issues with him is his harness. Now, you can barely see it in the picture, but he is wearing a leather mobility harness. These tend to be expensive, and they also tend to be one that people are used to associating with guide dogs. And I think, and that helps. When I had Tomlin and I was out, okay, hold on. Laurel's having trouble getting in. Okay, let me see what's up here. Okay, Laurel, what's the error message that you're getting? If you could message me with that. Let me see here. Yeah, this is new to everybody here. Okay. So let me message her again. Okay. So hopefully that will work. So where was I? Oh, the leather harness. People are used to seeing that, so it cuts down some on the access issues. And when I had Tomlin, I had more access issues because people are not used to seeing a husky. So one of the things that we have to do is we have to continually educate. The other thing that I think was going against us with Tomlin was he was in a vest. I didn't need mobility work at that time, so he tended to just be in a vest. And I'm pulling up a picture of him so you can see what I mean about that, the difference there. People associate vests with being just very, very easy to get and don't necessarily accept it as well as they do the harness. All right. I had this picture. Give me just a second, you all. And if you have not subscribed, now is a great time to do that. Okay. All right. So here we have, this is actually one of his last photos. Oh, hey, let me bring Laurel on first. Hi, Laurel.
Hi, I don't know. Every time I have to go through like 5 steps to join in, I don't know what it is. I guess because I'm doing it on my tablet rather than on a regular computer. It's a hard thing to get onto. It kept telling me that waiting, then I had to recopy it. And then it was asking me was I human and
Okay.
like hold on.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Hang on just a second. What are you doing?
Yeah, sorry about that.
What's up?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, are you here? Okay. All right. Okay. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
We're doing a blood sugar check here. He's giving me that fixed stare. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. 10. Oh. Okay. Well, I tell you what. Go find Dad. Ask Dad for a cookie. For Mommy, not for. Go tell him. Okay, we'll see if my husband gets the message, but he came in with a fixed stare and booped me there. I don't know if you all can see that, but that was my service dog in action on a live stream. I don't know how he knows these things, but he does.
Yeah.
Hopefully my husband will get the message. So, yeah.
The dog told me I was wanted.
Oh, you got the message. Did he bring you my blood sugar kit too?
No, he didn't do that one.
How did he?
He came and nudged.
Oh, he came and nudged you. Okay. Well, thank you. Do you have a napkin by chance?
Yeah.
Give me just a second, you all.
Okay.
It's so weird to eat on a live stream. But if I don't, I'm going to have a problem. So, and that's one of the things that you run into when you're out in public, even when you have a service dog. Grazie. Sorry, you all. But that's one of the things you run into when you're out in public is the potential to have an alert occur. And so when an alert occurs, you know what that looks like. People around you may just assume that your dog is misbehaving.
Yeah.
And it's kind of up to us as handlers to take care of what's going on when we have the alert, whereas whether the rest of the public around us understands or not.
Right.
And then after we take care of whatever's going on, then we can tell the public, hey, he was not misbehaving. This is what he does.
That's why I try to go to businesses that know me. That way, when they see Candy doing something, they can tell customers, everything's under control. Her dog is taking care of her. So I try to I go try the same stores or same businesses or doctors, and so most places I go, they know me. So yeah,
And it helps.
yeah.
It,
But it's in a strange town and something like that happens. Yeah, some people want to overly help you or whatever, and
yeah.
yeah, especially they want to call, 911. You just gotta know I'm fine.
Right.
One of
Sometimes
my
we need to
one of my
call.
challenges is um, Candy has an alert where she barks. It's not a bark, a whole bunch of barks in a row, but one bark, and then she waits, 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know how long. Um, but it's intermittent. It's not like, like when a dog barks, like and they have a rapid. It's just one bark, wait a couple minutes, and then bark again until I respond. And again, that most of the managers know, or businesses know that
That's
why she's doing that. Yeah.
with me with Pipsy. He comes up, and the first thing he does, he has a progression. So he will look at me with this fixed stare, and he won't look either way. He will just stare at me.
Right.
Um, then, if I don't pay attention to him, he'll come over and he'll start pawing me. If I'm still not getting the message, he will jump up in my lap.
Yeah.
And so, one way or the other, I am getting that message.
Yeah. Well, she's like Candy. She doesn't bark right away. She will do sort of like a progression, like you were saying. First, she will tap me. Well, no, she does like you. She'll get up on my lap and stare at me. And if I don't respond, she'll tap me with both of her paws. Um, then I trained her to lick my face because normally she won't do that. But you train her to do something you don't like so that it will startle you to respond. And so when she licks my face, she'll like lick all over my nose, mouth, ears, all until I respond. And I don't like that. So yeah, I'll respond. But yeah,
So
I
you
don't
know
like
what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah. I've got a picture if I can show it. I've actually got a picture of Pipsy where I wasn't getting the memo. And
Yeah.
so up he is in my lap.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I hope you all can see that. Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
But there we are. And you can tell I'm really surprised because my husband was, setting up to take a little selfie. We thought we were going to get the two of us there at the picnic. And while he was setting up, then up came Pipsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so his next action was to boot me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes he'll boot me first.
Yeah.
So
But like I said, with Candy being trained to bark, sometimes people think that they're misbehaving when no, that bark. And people used to think that service dogs weren't allowed to bark, but they can. Now I know with what is that international service thing that they claim that a real service dog shouldn't bark, but that's not correct. I guess because in some countries they don't allow barking, which I don't know why. Because I have a friend that she's not um, totally blind; she's vision impaired, so she can see. But sometimes um, her dog has to bark when she's not, like you said, not responding to the she's not getting with the program, what she calls it, and
right.
so the dog will bark, and it's a bigger dog, so it's like I think it's no, it's not a lab, it's a golden dog, and they don't bark much, but they when they're trained to bark, they will bark, and so
right?
Yeah. So,
And some of them are trained to bark incessantly until the
yes,
crisis is over, and they won't stop barking.
right, right. And then Candy is trained that if they see Candy and I'm not with her, she will bark. But I guess because I've trained her, she will only go to people with like a uniform. Because I think one time somebody was getting off duty, and she went up to them one time when I was having a problem. And even though they were off duty, they knew that it was Candy, so they went to see what the problem was. But
Right?
they go like, "I'm off the clock, Candy, but I'm gonna go see what your mommy needs." And so, yeah, so, but she did the right thing, yeah.
And I am not ignoring you. I've got a text message that has come in. So yeah, somebody's wanting to know what time the live stream is.
Okay,
So we're good. Hey Valerie,
yeah.
welcome. Valerie Reese.
And then who's
Is
makeup mom and son?
Makeup
Who is
Mom
that?
and Son is in. They are dear people who have followed our channel for quite some time.
Okay.
And we're glad to see you. We're glad to see you both. Yeah, we've got some neat people. So thank you all, both of you,
Yeah.
for coming in. And if you've got questions or comments or anything, throw them in the chat, okay?
Yes.
Toss them in there.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
yeah.
Gail, can you show the picture where there's a whole group of us training together?
Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, you know, it's different for people that had a program dog and owner train. You can do it with, you can owner train completely yourself, or you can do it with a professional trainer on one-on-one, or like we did. It was a group of us, and none of us were well, two of them were animal behaviors, but they had to retire because of their disability. So they helped kind of, you know, guide us. But they had a service dog, so there was 10 of us. So you might have to scroll back on your messenger.
Whoops. Yeah, that's what I've done is I've scrolled up on Messenger.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Here we go.
But yeah, so there's a group of us. Well, actually, there was 15 of us, but for one reason or another, somebody couldn't make the
There we
group.
go. There we go.
Okay, yes, okay.
I'm
Can
trying
you
to,
see?
whoops. There we were.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
Can you see Candy? I'm in the red shirt, so if you can look down and you can see Candy in between two big old dogs, and you see how she's paying attention. She's not looking at the dogs or the people. And
I'm going to see if I
really,
can
the way
make it a little big. There we go.
well, really, the way the camera was set up, the person had a tripod, and they put their phone on a tripod. Well, actually, it was a tablet, and then they had a remote button that they could take the picture and be in the group with us. So that
Those
was neat.
remotes are wonderful.
Yeah. Now there were actually 11 of us. How many do we got there? 4. Oh, there's not. Yeah, one person had to leave, so they didn't get to be in the picture. Yeah.
Okay.
Now there's another picture where two ladies are sitting next to each other with their service dogs laying down, and then you can see an escalator in the back. It's scroll down there for those pictures.
Okay.
And that was in the mall. Oh, that's a picture of us. Yeah.
Oh, that's your family picture there.
No, that was service dog. We had a Halloween party.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yeah, that was a Halloween party, and they did that with they did that with a landscape. So you hold the phone and you slowly move. And what it was the guy in the yellow took half of it, and then he handed it over to his wife, and she did the other half, and it looked like all one picture. I thought that was so neat how they did that.
That's a neat way to take a picture.
Now there were 7 dogs in that particular stuff, but
Wow.
that's actually where there's a picture of a mall. Us at a mall, there's a few ladies, and they got rather big dogs laying on the floor, like in the like
Okay.
what
I'm looking for that photo.
yeah, just keep going. What was I gonna say? They call it where they're like what they do like the food court. They're sitting in a food court in a mall. So if you just scroll down, you have to probably. I think you have to go way down. Oh, my head wasn't
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
My neck is hurting.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm okay.
Okay. If you need
But I
to,
just wanted to see how we were sitting in a food court and
yeah, I don't see that picture.
hold on, let me send it again.
Okay.
Mm. Mm. Okay, now see if you got it now.
Yep.
Okay, that's it. Can you put that up?
I'm working on that right this second.
Okay.
Peter's asking if I'm going to live stream Saturdays and Sundays. I am thinking about that. Now, Labor Day weekend, I might not be able to do both days, but I'm gonna. I think this coming Saturday, I'm gonna try to be online as well as on Sunday. So I'm working on it. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Let me see if
Can
I can
you
make
make
this one any bigger.
Yeah, see if you can make it bigger. But the dogs are actually laying right next to each other. Now they both have pit bull mix. One's a pit bull and
I think this is as
boxer
big
mix,
as
and
it's
the other one's a pit bull, some other kind of mix.
Mhm.
But the pit bull boxer mix, he's in the front. He's a brindle kind of, where they cut that kind of mixture of two tones. Yeah.
Right. Now, do they have problems with access? I was talking earlier about how I had different kinds of access problems with Pipsy versus what I had with Tomlin, because Tomlin was bigger and he was a husky mix, and
Right.
people were just, I think that confused people.
Yeah.
And then plus he was wearing a vest as opposed to a harness. And I think that makes a difference, because people are so used to fake service dogs where somebody goes online and they pay 25, 30, whatever, and get a vest, and then suddenly they have a service dog when they really don't.
Right.
And
Well, and then you know what? Some states are now allowing you to volunteer to because Ohio's trying that now, where you can volunteer to get I think registered, not certified. So you can get registered in Ohio as a strictly volunteer program, but I think that's going to cause confusion because they're going to say, "Oh well, we've seen Ohio service dog uh, vest," and and then you have to say, "Well, it's strictly a volunteer program at this time, and that's again it's required." So I don't know if I
well,
do like that. Yeah.
the ADA doesn't require anything.
No, I know, but when you see a state um, having a volunteer registration, then that kind of causes problems. And then the other thing that I don't like what Ohio's done, they did this right before COVID hit. They made a law in Ohio that if any bar, um, if they have outdoor seating area, they can have pets are allowed to come.
Right.
So they can't come on the inside, but they can be like in the patio or porch or whatever. The thing is, sometimes to get to the entrance, you sometimes have to go through the outdoor area. So that means your service dog's got to go past these untrained dogs, and they're usually volunteers bringing them there because the whole idea, what happened was different uh, groups, what do you call them, that find homes for dogs.
The rescue, the fosters.
Yeah, the rescues and that, they're the ones that pushed for that law. So they claimed that they would have more um, access to people that would want to adopt. I don't know why somebody would go to a bar to want to, usually go to a bar to drink, not pick up a dog, but that's just me. But anyways,
Right.
so they made that law, and like I said, I don't like that because, like I said, if they serve alcohol, technically a bar. So Cheesecake Factory has, alcohol, so they got that food court. But again, sometimes you have to go through the outside to get inside, and other times it's nice if I want to sit outside. If there's too many dogs out there, I won't go sit outside. I'll just stay inside because of that. So I really don't like that law.
We have Grandma Lynn in the house too. So
Hi, Lynn. How you doing?
Hi. It's good to see you too.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here. And again, you all, please don't forget to give me a like on the live stream because it really does help.
Yeah.
It really does. So in Tennessee, you are not allowed to take your emotional support dog out as far as to any restaurant or any place that sells food. Now, patio, as I understand this, patio dining is all right unless you have to go into the restaurant to get the patio
Mm-hmm.
in which case you can't do that.
Okay.
So I'm pulling this up. This is WKRN here in Tennessee out of Nashville. And I'll put the link over in the chat room right now. But it talks about the ban on emotional support animals in restaurants, grocery stores. And this also includes your food courts, your hotel, your continental breakfast, your dining areas, things like that. They're all covered. And so no emotional support animals.
Yeah. Well, here, and again, in Ohio, the emotional support animals in public housing, they have the same rights as a service dog. I mean, they can go in the common areas.
Under HUD, the FHA, right?
Right. But they also are allowed to go to a doctor's appointment. So, like, if I'm going to see my, whether it's an actual psychiatrist, psychologist, or counselor, I can bring them to the doctor's office, even if they're just an emotional support animal. The only thing bad about that is then when you're sitting up there in the waiting area and you got your service dog and these emotional support animals are there, the person's not always making their dog behave. This one lady keeps bringing her little, it's a Jack Russell Terrier mix, and I think he's got some chihuahua in it, and she brings it on her walker. And she purposely comes close to Candy and I say, please stay away. My dog is a service dog. Oh, well, I just want to say, no, I don't want you to say hi. She's working. And it's, I had to have a couple times have a nurse or medical assistant ask her to please sit on the other side of the waiting area. And she didn't like that, but like I said, because she was going to see her psychiatrist or psychologist or whoever she was seeing, she was allowed to bring the ESA because that they allow that here in Ohio. I don't. I think if they're that bad, then you need your emotional support animal with you at your doctor, which is supposed to be helping, so then maybe you need your dog to become certified and be a psychiatric service dog. But I see they don't want to have
And
training.
that's a totally different thing. I just want to clarify for everybody that a psychiatric service dog is a dog that has been trained to help someone with their emotional or mental disorder or their physical disorder. So they might be trained how to stop an anxiety attack or how to respond to someone who has PTSD and they're going into a stress episode. They're trained to notice those symptoms and they're trained on how to handle it. So they're going to notice, they're going to alert, and they're going to exhibit some sort of skill. Their task is going to be very oriented to helping that person, where emotional support animals are just comfort animals.
Well, they help by just being there. They're doing nothing special.
Right, they're not trained.
Right. The only thing the thing is, people don't realize that in order to have an emotional support animal, even like in where I live, you do have to have a mental health issue, and you do need. That is why you do need a letter when you're moving into apartment building, whether it's HUD or not. Regardless, if there's more than 4 apartments, you must have a letter. It doesn't have to say what your mental illness is. It's just a statement from your doctor saying it was like when Candy was my emotional support while I was still training her. My doctor said Laurel needs her emotional support animal to be living with her. And yeah. So that they had that letter on file. But you do have to have an actual mental health condition. And so that they don't have to say you have right. They don't have to say, oh, she's got agoraphobia or she's got PTSD. They just need to say you have a mental issue that requires your emotional support animal to be with you. Like I said, they have all the rights of a service dog in the building that they're living in the common areas. Well, actually outside too. So if you have a patio
under federal law, they only have it in the housing unless you're like in Laurel State where they allow an expansion and you can actually do more and go more places.
Well, like they can only go to their doctor, their mental health doctor, not their health.
You can't do that here.
Right. So if they're going to their regular primary care, their animal can't go with them. It's only when they're going to their mental health doctor that they can take the ESA with them. And then, like I said, in the housing, the emotional support and service dogs have the same rights. The only difference is when I had Candy become my service dog, I didn't have to have a letter officially saying she's a service dog. Where with the ESA, you have to have a letter stating that this dog is an emotional support animal. So, yeah.
And Tanya Lambert is in the house. She's in the chat. So, Tanya, if you'd like to come on and join us live,
Hi, Tanya.
You're completely welcome to do that. But if you want to be in the chat, that's okay too. So, yeah. So, how are we doing? I'm doing pretty good. I had a little bit of a blood sugar thing, so Pipsy came in and let me know about it.
Yeah, I'm just having a lot of headaches, but my doctor's working on helping me with it. It's a neurological thing, so.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Headaches just make your life generally off.
Well, and see, then I have the muscle that that helps trigger the nerve pain. That's it. So they play off of each other. Yeah. So the muscle pain causes the headache. The headache causes the muscle pain. It goes back and forth. Oh, Tanya says she's getting a new service dog.
She, let me get up here. Yeah, she's looking to get a new service dog after her mom passes away.
Okay.
And, that's something else actually that we can talk about for a minute. And that is that I think there's an expectation among family and friends that once you have a service dog, you're going to always have a service dog. And that's not necessarily the case, because our needs change, our lives change. And so we may need a service dog at one stage of our life that we don't need later. We may need we may start out with, okay, I'm going to pick on me. I started out with a service dog, Tomlin, that helped with alerts and seizure response. Things changed. And so after Tomlin passed away, I realized that I really needed a dog to help me more with mobility work than I had previously. So even though I already had Tomlin, I still would have needed, I feel like, to bring a dog along that could help with mobility.
Yeah.
And here he is, by the way. This is one of his later pictures. I'll pull him up.
Yeah.
So what do either one of you ladies want to say something about that? And here we are with Tomlin. He's getting a pup cup from Stellar.
Oh, yeah. Candy likes that. No, I was going to say, Candy started out as my emotional support animal, but she started on her own, alerting to my neuropathy in my legs. I don't have diabetes. Mine's from my spine. So then that's when I was telling my primary care doctor, she said, well, you should see about training her as your service dog. And she said, then once she's trained, then you won't need that emotional support letter anymore. And
right,
all I have to do, A law allows you. So once Candy became my service dog, I had 3 ways I could let the manager know. I could tell him in person. I could do it with a letter from my doctor, or I could just give them a written notice from myself saying Candy is now my service dog. So any of those would be, I don't have to do all of them, just whatever one I chose. So I just told them, because I knew the manager well, I just told them myself. But I was smart on this. I have a friend, she helps with people that have an ESA dog become service dogs. So she was there with me when I told the manager. So she was as a witness for me, so they can say, well, you never told us that Candy's your service dog now. So, but anyway, so that's how I did it. Yeah.
Okay. And Valerie's stepping off. She has to take a phone call.
Okay, Valerie, thanks for coming in.
So Tanya is saying that, let me back up. Tanya says that she feels safer and more stable with a service dog because they can respond to her shift quickly and help me stay standing up and counterbalance. You don't get that with a walker or crutches. No, you don't. No, you don't. And that's huge. Oh, speaking of which, I just want to brag for a moment. My arm is out of the splint.
Oh, yeah.
I can get rid of the splint. My arm is healed enough to get rid of it. But you know what surprised me? What surprised me is the doctor said, yeah, your bone's not fully healed, but you're to the point where you're going to be okay without the brace. So I thought that was odd because I'd always thought that you had a brace until you you fully healed.
Yeah.
But not always. So
Yeah.
but I'm glad for it because it makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Now the way I got the break is because going back to what Tanya said about feeling safer and more stable with a service dog, I didn't have my service dog with me. So I fell and am very fortunate that this was not worse because when I fell, I was on the side of a slope. So I actually fell down onto the concrete. And so I was falling when I fell on the concrete, I was falling below where I was standing. So I had that much more momentum. And boom, took my hand, broke the bones. Um, but I did not have a service dog with me. I had gone to the service dog class, and they had said, if you bring your current service dog, it's going to interfere with the bonding. So don't bring your current service dog. So he stayed home with Dad, my husband. They pulled my service dog the morning of graduation and said he is not going to graduate. Now I was offered a couple of different avenues to take, but I opted just to go ahead and just not bring him home. And they're being really nice about it. But because of that, I came home without the service dog. So that when I stopped at the rest area, I didn't have a dog to lean into me. I didn't have a dog to brace and counterbalance and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, Tanya makes an excellent point about that. So, yeah. Now, do I remember you saying one time that Candy did some light mobility work?
Yeah, she still does. And light mobility means like she could pick up, keys. She never would pick up her leash. I tried teaching her that. She didn't want to mouth that. Certain things, some dogs just don't want to put their mouth on. So I guess the texture didn't feel like her. I tried putting like a little pom-pom on it to see if that would do it, but then she didn't like a fuzzy pom-pom either. So she won't pick up her legs. But here's one, now it is considered light mobility, which light mobility doesn't mean she actually has to have contact. For instance, a lot of times when I get up in the morning, I don't like to turn on the lights because, again, sometimes my headache will come on. So I try to just go with the night light. But once in a while, I'll drop a pill, and I've got 3 pills that are really tiny. And so I might not see one fall. She will go over there. She acts like those pointer dogs. She will go over there and bark once, and then she will stare where that pill is, and she will not touch it. But she lets me know that pill's on the floor, but she knows not to touch it. So that's considered light mobility. So she does that for me. I know what happened was I went to my doctor has more than one location he goes to. Once a week he's at my uh where it's in my neighborhood, and then he works across town, and I really don't like to go because it's a long ride, but once in a while I have to go there. So anyways, I was at his other office, and the floors are really slick there.
Okay.
And I had one of my main pills bounce and roll on the floor, and I really needed it. And the nurse said, "Well, I can go ask the doctor to give you because the thing is that his office where he does his main work, they don't have a pharmacy there." He said, "I can have the doctor write a script, and I can go next door to the pharmacy and get you just one pill." I said, "No, I don't want you to go to the Candy should be able to find it." So I told her, I said, "Find it." And she went all the way across the waiting area, and it rolled up under like a little end table, and she could fit her little butt under it, but she didn't touch it. She just pointed with her head, and I said, "That's what it is." And so, sure enough, the nurse found one. She goes, "Yeah, it was way back there in the corner." But Candy saw that all the way across the room. She said, "I don't know how your dog saw that it went all the way, because it was a little tiny white pill on a white floor, but yet she knew where it was, and she directed the nurse on." So the nurse got the pill, she dusted it off, and I took it because it was my main muscle relaxant. So I needed that pill. So we did that. So that's considered light mobility. Another thing is, like when we're talking about doing the pressure, pressure of the therapy, what do you call it?
The deep pressure therapy.
Yeah. Well, but now they say little dogs can't do deep pressure, but they can. It's in a smaller area. So like with Pipsy, he could do your whole body deep pressure. Where Candy, she will lay on where my hiatal hernia is on my stomach, and believe me, her little 7.5 pounds laying right there on that hernia causes that hernia, the spasms to stop. And she won't get over that until the spasms have completely stopped. And sometimes they'll stop for a minute and then they'll start back up. But she knows that they're completely stopped, and then she will get off. But I don't usually have to tell her. She can tell when they start to come on, and then as soon as I start making, she knows that she gets right on my stomach and lays on that, and does the deep pressure on that hernia. Another way she does the deep pressure is if I am having a panic or a panic attack or
Anxiety.
yeah, she will get me lay right on my chest and help my breathing slow down. She can also pick up on my heart, how fast it's beat. So when my heart slows down and my breathing is not going crazy, then
All
she
the
would.
body
But so
changes.
she lays on my chest, and that's again. But it's more isolated, small area where a big dog can cover your whole body. Now I do. She does actually help with the cramps in my legs, because usually they're up on my side. But what she'll have to do, she'll lay on one leg and get it to stop spasm, and then she goes and lays on the
The other one.
other leg. But yeah, so if I
Yeah,
had
that was
a
actually
big dog,
something
I
we
could lay
had.
on both legs at one time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's actually something we had Tomlin trained to do. I have where I have the nerve damage in my back, which causes my leg not to work. It's called foot
Right.
drop, everybody. And so when my leg spasms, it's really hard to break that spasm.
Yes.
And we're not talking about your average muscle cramps here.
Right. I know it.
It literally turns over on the side, and then I can't even do it with my hands. My toes just get in these weird positions.
No, I know. That's what happens to me.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And even my
we
foot
trained
will.
Tomlin to lay down on my legs,
Yeah.
and the heat of his body combined with the weight, it does help. So
No, does your foot sometimes even bend the whole foot? My foot will kind of contort into a bent state, and there's no way I can get it the toes will curl, but the foot will bend too. And Candy knows how to lay on that foot to make it straighten out, and then eventually the toes stop doing that. But yeah, my whole foot will go into a contorted state. Yeah.
yeah,
And I have to take my shoe
it's
off
a
if
pain.
I'm in public. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
it's a
I'm
pain
in
to deal
public.
with.
Yeah. So I know exactly how that is.
So it's a little weird. I haven't had to have him do that in public
Oh, that's good.
yet, so hopefully it won't happen.
Yeah.
But I actually did one time with Tomlin, and people did not respond well. That was one of the problems that I had, is because they see the videos of people who have their dog doing the DPT,
Yeah.
And I think in some people's minds, I don't think they get that that's actually a legitimate, important, needed task, and that
Yeah,
the task, not just happiness out of the dog. So,
right,
so yeah, I had some people really look at me strange, and a couple of them made a comment, but
right,
you know, you just learned how to deal with that.
yeah.
Now,
Well,
going
I was gonna say, when I was having a CAT scan done, I had to lay perfectly still. While what happens then, my start getting cramps, and then sometimes that affects my you know what do you call it? I started having a panic attack, and so
okay,
they stopped the procedure for a few minutes and allowed can I still had to stay. It was an open CAT scan, so it wasn't all closed up. Um, so then they allowed her to get on me, and when I felt calm enough again to go back and finish the CAT scan, then we did. But yeah, they allowed her to do that, and um, they said, "Well, she do." I said, "Yeah," because I had what do you call it? The hands-free leash. I said, if you just put
okay,
on that hands-free leash, Candy will go wherever you're at. And so that's what they did. And so what they did after that, anytime, same with some of the X-rays, I had to lay in weird twisted things, and then it would cause cramping and that. And so now whenever they got noted to take Candy with them behind, you know how they go behind that thing to keep so they don't get exposed to the
to the
X-ray.
X-ray,
So
yeah, radiation.
they put on the hands-free leash with and Candy goes with them behind there while they're doing it, and then that way, if I need her, they just come out and bring her out there. But yeah, she sits back there with them while they're doing the X-ray. Because like I said, sometimes I have to lay, and they want me to lay on my side, but they want me to take the leg that's on the outside. They want me to bend it some contort way
Con-
that it hurts them. So yeah, so they have Candy come in periodic. So like they do a couple X-rays, have Candy come in and help me, and then yeah. So yeah,
That's nice. Yeah, they have let Pipsy over here go with me, except
yeah.
they don't let him go CT and they don't let him go MRI. And the way
But
they get
MRI you can't go. Yeah,
right, the way they get around that is, your service dog can go with you anywhere that they don't have to fundamentally change the nature of what they're doing.
yeah. Now there are some larger X-ray rooms where Candy could be on my scooter, but they put her.
With
My scooter was in the far corner where she wasn't exposed, and I would be getting the X-rays, and so what they did as a precautionary, those lead jacket things, they hung it over my scooter that it basically blocked her,
her.
she was far
Nice.
enough away that they really didn't have to do it. They just did that as an extra, but she was actually in the X-ray room, but it was a really large X-ray room.
Okay.
But no, I did have a special ultrasound. Now, no, normally ultrasounds are not a problem for the service dog breed, but this one used very low amount of um, you know the X-ray. So um, they allowed Candy. She had to be. They actually had a tape on the floor because they sometimes family members came, and as long as Candy stayed behind that tape, she was safe. And so she was in there when I had the ultrasound. So it was an ultrasound um, combo with like I said, the X-ray. Um, and so, and with that, it was weird because it was a little bit loud because I was going. I said, "This is not a MRI." She said, "No, no, just because it does because they're combining the X-ray with the ultrasound. It makes a
Right.
little noise like that. But yeah, now I did have to do ultrasound on my legs because at one time they thought I had that. What do you call that?
The
Peripheral. Uh,
the deep vein thrombosis
yeah, yeah, yeah.
thing.
No, well, no, it's a
Something.
peripheral. Where
Oh,
the
peripheral artery. Gotcha.
yes, that I had to have that pad tested. Well, she got to see him do that. So he said he won't. The guy was worried that she won't try to come over. I said no, she's all kinds of equipment. The only funny thing was when I went to my orthopedic doctor to get a cortisone shot in my knee, and um, Candy was sitting on my scooter, and you know how they have that stuff where they freeze your knee and it makes a little hissing sound. So she kind of
Okay.
turned her head sideways, like trying to figure out what's that noise. And she was
Oh, no.
just curious. And so she's just
Funny.
looking. And so then he goes and gets the cortisone, and you know how big that needle is, and he pulls off the cap. And when Candy saw how big that needle is, it was so funny. The doctor had to keep from laughing because if she would have did it quickly, it wouldn't have been funny. But she sitting straight looking at me on that stare. But when she saw that cap coming off and how big that needle was, she went like this. She like slowly turned her head away, like, "Mom, I don't see anything." And the doctor had to keep from laughing because she didn't want to see that. Because I think she remembers when she goes to the vet how
I
they
was just
give her shots.
thinking, yeah.
And so she saw that big old needle and she goes like, "I'm not gonna help you on that, Mom."
That's funny.
So she goes,
Now,
"I don't
nothing
hear."
like that bothers Pipsy. He just nothing. I got a
Well,
picture
she
I'm
had
going to
never seen it
show.
before. When I
Okay.
went another time that she wasn't, but that was her first time of seeing that. But like I said, if she turned real fast, it wouldn't have been funny. But she's like slowly turned, like, "I don't see anything going on, Mom. I don't hear anything." Like, I see nothing, I can hear nothing. But the doctor just thought that was so funny.
I've got a funny picture to show you too.
Okay,
I popped it up here a minute ago, but you were
okay.
talking, so I'm
That's
pretty
fine.
sure you didn't see it. But this is Pipsy. I had to go in to have something done. Pipsy was staying with Dad, aka John,
Yeah,
and so we had his little water bowl and stuff. But it
yeah.
took so long that he fell asleep on my leg brace. Now,
I
I
know.
did not know how this dog managed to do that. I have no clue. Tanya just informed me that they can fall asleep anywhere.
Yeah.
I think she nailed
He,
it on that one.
he was checking it from John. He didn't want John to steal it from you.
Could be. I don't know. But there he was, just, and I was like, okay, when I saw the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tanya, I think you're right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Candy.
I want to go in. Tanya has said a couple of things. I want to get into the chat right quick.
Oh, yeah.
Give me just a second to pull it up. Okay. So we're going back a few minutes here. Tanya says cerebral palsy doesn't change, but how your muscles are affected change. The older you get, the less they relax. So it makes it harder and harder to walk when your muscles don't want to loosen up and work. She says, I walk around the house, but I tend to sit in public anymore. I'm a partial wheelchair user at the moment. And says, our needs change as we age, so our tasks become different for our service dogs to help with. And then she says, I'm trying to get caught up with her here. She says her legs do what her brain tells her legs to move, and it'll feel like they've moved, but then she'll fall because they didn't move. It's a really odd sensation. And she says that deep pressure therapy, that's what it's called when the dog lays down on you and helps your muscles. That's called deep pressure therapy. And she says Archer, her service dog, is 8 years old and retired now. So,
Okay.
and enjoying retirement, it seems. It seems. And then, okay, then she asks, oh, how do you find using your current service dog, Pipsy, different from your past service dog, Tomlin? Well, some of the tasks are different. When I had Tomlin, I didn't need mobility assistance. I needed alerting and seizure response. And when I say seizure response, he didn't alert for that. He alerted for blood sugar, but he wouldn't alert for seizures. But when I was in the floor, he would, flop on top of me. Then after a minute, he would go and get my husband. And so he would respond in that way.
Yeah.
So that's more what I needed. And then after he passed away, I started and retrieval. That was a really big thing. And so after I passed away, I realized how much I needed the service dog.
Right.
So, later, Pipsy came into the picture. And so he alerts fabulously for blood sugar. He was alerting to seizure issues when I didn't know I was having seizure issues. My neurologist figured that one out. And I even argued with her a little bit. I'm like, no, I'm not having any kind of seizure activity. And she was like, we'll just change your meds and we'll see what happens. So she tweaked my meds. And about 4 weeks later, his behavior went back to normal. He had been doing constant alerts, but he does mobility work, which I need now, as well as the retrieval and things like that. So it's two different dogs. The public has reacted to them completely differently.
Yeah.
Completely. We would have some people ask to pet Tomlin, but I have more. Now, right now, I'm having a lot of people here locally that just want to pet him. And we had for those of you who don't know, my county in Tennessee was the hardest hit by Hurricane Helene. We actually border Western North Carolina. We are not Western North Carolina, but we border it. And 2 weeks ago, we still had people that we were placing in campers to get them out of the tents. Yeah, it'll be a year next month. So I'm not going to go on that rant. But people right here, because they're looking for comfort, it's very difficult for me to go to the grocery store with him. Now, because one day I had 11 different people wanting to pet him at the grocery store. And it was different aisles and different people and stuff like that. So I just left. I got half of my shopping done and I just left. I was like, later I'm just going to do curbside pickup. It exists for a reason. So, but when I'm out in public away from here, I have people who still want to stop me and pet him, but it's not as frequently as, well, I won't say it's not as frequently. It's I think a little more frequently, but his harness, where Tomlin was in a vest, Pipsy's in a harness, and I think people see the harness and that makes them think twice because they're used to people who have vision problems having the harness. So I don't have as much problem. So yeah. But you always have funny things happen with your dogs. Yeah. One of the funny moments that I had with Tom, these two girls, I'm sorry. Every time I think about it, even now, I have to not laugh. Because we were out and Tomlin had his little vest on, and one of the little girls goes, "Oh, that's a dog." And she comes over and she's like, I want to pet the dog. And her sister reaches over and smacks her hand and says, no, you can't pet the service wolf. Because Tomlin, being a husky mix, reminded her of a wolf. So she told her sister, you cannot pet the service wolf. So still laugh about that. But yeah. Yeah. So that's some of the differences.
Yeah.
What I have done that really helps, because do you ever get cornered, Candy? With Candy,
Yeah.
somebody just has to feel like they have to touch your dog.
Yes, and I've had people do that. I told you one time I was in the store and I didn't realize how fast the person came behind me, and they reached over my shoulder and were trying to grab Candy to hug her, and I'm going, and Candy, because
Remember that?
she wouldn't do nothing, but she's looking at me over her head hanging back like, Mom, save me from this lady. And I had to tell her, yeah, you don't just approach a dog like that. I said, she's a service dog, but I said, if you did that to other dogs, they may try to bite you. I said, you don't do that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but I couldn't believe that she was going to try to pick up Candy and hug her. The manager had to ask her to stop doing that because she did that to somebody else. With a
I'm glad the manager stepped in.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
And speaking of managers, this grocery store, it was community owned. Like you bought shares into it. I at one time had shares in it, and then they ended up closing up before COVID just because that their stuff was too expensive, and so some other person bought it, and I went in there. I hadn't been in there months, and this guy was really aggressive, this manager. Okay, I was in the store already, and I picked up a couple items, put them in my basket, and I was getting ready to go to the cashier, and he comes running up and yells at me, no, you're not, get out of here, you can't shop here, no dogs in here. I said, she is a service dog. She's considered medical equipment. I don't care what you call her. I said, you need to know the ADA. Well, no, I don't have to know any law. And I said, excuse me, if you're, and I said, I'd like to speak to the owner. My dad's the owner. He'll tell you the same thing. And he was just nasty, mean, hateful. And then when I tried to go up to the cash register, he went on my scooter, the bars, handlebars, and blocked me. And then he reached in the 2 or 3 little items in my bag, my basket, not the ones in there, my little basket on my scooter, and snatched those items out. And instead of being decent, saying, "Well, you're not going to be able to check out." No, he just snatched and was nasty. So I'm going to file.
Did you file with the Americans with Disabilities Act?
Yeah, I'm going to file a formal complaint. Yeah. So yeah.
Good.
I just haven't had a chance to do that because of this crazy Nick, but I've got the date and the time, and I know a couple other people have had the same thing with bigger dogs. So I know there's one lady that she's blind. You cannot. The federal law says if you own a business or the thing with housing, you must know the laws of not just the ADA, but any kind of laws. And so
you're expected to.
Oh, I didn't know that was a law. No, you can't play that.
Yeah. No.
So he's gonna get in trouble for that. So.
Well,
originally, when I first, because it was a different manager, she tried to delay approving. I said, well, number one, I said, really, the deny or approve thing is really a technicality because if you deny my service dog can have access, then we'll proceed with filing, the complaint. I've already talked to the HUD, and they put me in touch with the Department of Justice. You know, the DOJ would come out here and investigate.
Talk
And
to him.
so she said, well, the owners haven't made a decision. I said, well, they can't delay it more than a few weeks. If it goes into months, then I have to call HUD back, and then they're going to send their officers out. They call them officers because that's what they are. They are investigating officers, and they have They have the same authority of anybody. They can file a civil rights complaint
Civil,
right then.
okay,
And so
good point.
it could be up to $100,000 for each complaint. And
Wow.
so this happened on a Monday. I said, Angie, how come when am I going to hear back about whether you guys are approving or denying my service dog? And she said, well, they're still haven't come up with that decision yet. The powers of Israel. Well, then I'm going to have to file a complaint. And I said, you can get not just the owners, but you, the manager, can get in trouble too. And so this was they closed at 5. This was at like 4:45 in the afternoon on Monday, and then the office opened at 8:30 in the morning. Well, she happened to be there at 8, and I was out there with Candy going to the bathroom, and came in, and she said, Laura, can you come here? And so I went by her office. She said, they are going to approve that Candy can, we,
Good.
we're really. So she must have, between 4:45 on Monday afternoon and 8 a.m. the next day, she must have called the owner and said what was going on, because I said, because she said, well, when are they coming? I said, well, HUD told me any day now. So I guess they got scared and they have been approved it. I guess they thought I was going to back down, but I had to do that. I mean, since then they've had, after that, there was a really nice manager, because after that incident, the manager retired. And then,
Sounds like he needed to.
well, and then even when the manager already said, it was approved, a couple of the workers here, the one lady didn't like me going into at that time, but this was before COVID, we would have like a little breakfast. They had coffee, and then people would bring donuts in or whatever to share.
Gotcha.
And so we would eat down there, and they kept saying, well, you can't come down there, and dogs are nasty, and they shouldn't. And I said, well, that's it. That's a civil rights law. And she's a social worker, so she knows that. She goes, well, I think they should reverse the law. And I said, really? And she happened to be black, so she's a friend. I said, well, if you want to reverse civil rights for you? And she said, no. I said, well, then why are you saying that about my service dog? She said they should take away service dog civil rights. Yeah, so I'm going, no, that's not how it works. And so, anyways, I was being harassed, and I fortunately I had a friend. She's retired now. She worked up at the State House in Ohio, and she was actually what do you call the lobbyist that makes the laws.
Yeah, the lobbyists can influence the lawmakers. Yeah.
Well, no, she actually helped. There's a panel of 5 of them, and they help
Okay.
approve or disapprove different laws. And so
Yeah, I know that.
she said, I'll take care. She called down here and told the manager that if the harassment didn't stop, they were going to file. I mean, they could have multiple charges against them. That means they could have, 20,000 multiple times every time I get harassed, could be $20,000 to $50,000 fine. So, I mean, that can add up. And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
in a hurry.
So they not only made those people, the people that worked here stop, but they made them apologize. Plus, the bad thing about the one person, he was a maintenance person, he was getting the other residents to harass me. Say, oh,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Oh, that's when they say, oh, she's not really a service dog, and all this kind of stuff. And so we got that all resolved. But yeah, I had to go through a lot of that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Something I've done that helps me get out of, I don't want, I guess I'll just go ahead and say tight spots. When you just have somebody come up and you just either don't have time to talk to them or you don't want to talk to them or they just flat get weird. I've made these little cards. Now, these are not the ADA law, printed out all,
You're right.
These are actually kind of fun and they're written for kids, but I use them for adults. And so normally it would have his paw print right here. So just imagine that Bipsy's got his paw print. I just haven't had a chance. I actually take his paw and we stamp each paper. So
wow.
So
what do you use? I wanted to do something like candy, but I didn't know what do you use on the paw?
I use tempera water paint.
Okay, that works. Okay.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then I can let him, if I do it on a damp day, I can let him go play in the grass and all the paint comes off his paw while he's playing.
Yeah. Oh, well, Candy doesn't. She's usually wiping her paws, so that's not a problem.
I
But
got
to
see how to do that better. So what the little cards say, because I wanted to keep it upbeat, because people respond to that better than when you come across and you're very demanding. And so it says, my card says, "Hi, I'm Pipsy. I'm sorry I can't play or pet right now because I'm working. Here's my pawtograph, though. I hope it makes you smile. As an ADA service dog, I get to go most places where my human mom goes. Cares Inc. in Kansas taught me some cool tasks to help her out. This funny harness I'm wearing helps me brace her since she can't walk so good. But if I'm petted or distracted, I can miss her stumbles. I help with seizures, asthma, and do a fun high five. That's why she says I'm her good boy." So, I've referenced the ADA. It talks about some of the things that he does for me. Also, the fun thing about the high five. And it also says some of the other things that he can help me with. So it talks about the bracing and that he can help with seizures and asthma and stuff. So people have responded really, really well to this. I was actually in one place, a little tourist place, and this little boy came up and he was so sweet and so polite. I actually kind of felt bad because he came up and he's like, "Excuse me, would it be okay? I mean, could I pet your dog?" And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry." And he just was like, "Oh, okay." And he looked so sad when he walked away. So I said, "Wait just a minute." And I said, I've got this. It's a autograph, which is like a dog's autograph. And I said, "Would you like one of these? I couldn't let you pet him, but I can give you one of these." And he was like, "Yeah." So he goes running over to his brother. "Look what I got." So he's with his grandmom, right? So his grandmom comes over to me, and I see the brother. So I went ahead and gave him one. And the grandmother, she's still walking over toward me, and she looked at this and she said, "Thank you so much. do you mind if I spread this around? And she was going to talk to somebody at her church. She was going to show it to the kids at school. I mean, to the
Yeah.
teacher at school. And because it explained in a child's like way what a service dog is. And
Yeah.
I just thought that was really, really nice. And then the
Well,
boy,
see, I know Candy has business cards, so
yay, there you go. There you go. That's
yeah.
cute.
And then on the back it has more details, and it has all the different social media. And I tell them to go on there because I do education about service dogs on there, and so that's why I said a lot of people where I go now they'll say hi to us because I've given out these cards or they went on Candy's social media and
There you go.
yeah, so some go on
Nice.
TikTok, some go on Facebook, but I use the same. I just kept the same name,
Yeah,
Candy the Police Service Dog, on all her social media. Because some people have different names on different things. I couldn't keep track of that. Because one friend, she's got one name for her page on, and another. I said I couldn't have all those different names. I mean, it's basically her dog name, but it's in different variations. And so I'm gonna have across the board the one title, and so they can remember that. And so yeah, like I said, I had originally 1,000 business cards, and I've given them all out. And
that's
so,
good.
yeah,
I did go back and add one little line onto this saying, see my book available on Amazon. Pipsy goes to service dog school. So,
I want to know now how much did it cost for you to make that book, Gail?
well, you create the book and then you upload it to Amazon on their own little publishing thing. And then what
Oh,
they do is they publish it and keep a pretty sizable chunk of what you've priced the book at. And
yeah.
then
Well, I
they
mean,
cut you
my,
the rest of it.
oh,
So you don't have to
yeah.
handle inventory. You don't have to worry about shipping or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying you might want to try. I don't know how you feel, but I got uh, Candy has merchandise on. Well, they were calling it Teesprings. Now they just call it Springs. But Candy's got, like I said, she's got this. Oops, where am I? I'm trying to see. That's
There
her
you go.
top. We got pillows,
Tanya, thank
blankets.
you
We
so
got
much for
we
coming
got
in.
yeah.
Now,
Oh
you
yeah,
stay
yeah,
safe. Tanya's
Tanya.
going to have to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. But what I was saying was, I have merchandise with Candy on there, and so we got fanny packs. We got hoodies. I don't think we got hats. We got the tumblers. We got glass mugs, blankets, and all that. And so they, like you said, they handle everything. All they do is whenever there's a sales, they load it onto my PayPal account, and so
Okay.
basically I price it how I want, but you don't want to go too out. Like
Yeah, if you go too high, you're not going to
yeah,
sell
so
it.
basically, they give you what they charge, and then you add on what you want, and you kind of have to go like I kind of went to different stores, like your average hoodie is about between $25 to $35. So I went with $27, $28, depending on whether it's a man or a woman. And so people responded to that. And so that's I said. So on a $28 hoodie, I get $6 on that. On the fanny packs, they're only $8. So I think I only get like $1.50, $2. But
Right.
I don't have to worry about nothing. Like you said, they
See,
do all
yeah,
the
that's
shipping.
nice.
If something gets lost or damaged, they replace it. They have a number to call any complaint, like if you got the wrong size, wrong color, it got delivered to the wrong address. whatever. They field all that stuff. I just collect the money. Anybody can get one.
Amazon does that too, and unfortunately, they just raised the royalty rates for print books and color printing just a little bit.
Okay.
It's still not bad. I've got the Tipsy book right now priced at $11.99, and I think I make like $2.50, $3 off of it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But but how do you create your own book? Is how I want to know how you do that.
Well, you of course come up with your story and your illustrations.
No, I meant the actual book.
Yeah.
You
come up with that, and then they have templates, and you conform your book to their template. Now, hey, I don't have Word because it's just another bill that I have to pay, and I don't have that. So hubby over there, he has it through work. So I will give it to him, and he'll make sure it's formatted right, and he'll upload it for me. And then you just go through and you set your price and stuff.
Yeah. Well, see, my friend that designed Candy's business card, she's a graphic artist, so she did that, Candy. But I actually want to do instead of like, you're just more like a like a cartoon kind of thing. I want actually photographs of Candy in the book. So
okay,
I gotta figure out how I'm going to do that.
Well, it's all part of the template, so you can add. And now, one of the things I didn't like, and I'll just be honest, I went back and I changed some of the graphics, so we actually uploaded a different version because once we finally got it uploaded, it looked like some of the graphics were stretched, and that didn't make me happy. But I had gone ahead and ordered a bunch of copies to send it like to you and Tanya and some other people.
Right.
So I actually went back and redid that and re-uploaded it. So, if you don't like it the first time, or if you forget a comma or a period or, something like that, then you can go back and adjust it.
Okay. So when will we be getting the book?
When? What?
Yeah.
When will I be getting the book? The book's
when will I get one?
Oh, I thought I sent you one.
No, I haven't.
I thought I did. Well, let me make myself a note.
Yeah.
I sure thought I sent one.
Candy, she didn't send us a book, did she? Candy's giving you the side eye.
I am so sorry, Candy. I will fix that. Peter Parker, thank you for coming in.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. Yes. You have a great night. Okay. So
yes.
I really thought I did. I'm sorry.
Candy's giving you the side eye. But yeah,
so I'll made a note. I'll send you one. Valerie's still here. Bless you. Thank you. So I've got another book actually. Which, Valerie, I need to talk to you about. I want to know if I can use your name in the book. It's and I'm donating for once it finally comes out. I'm donating all of the profits until the end of the year is going to go to hurricane recovery here in Johnson County. So what I did was I took the inspiration from a lot of the things that we did after the hurricane as far as getting supplies and stuff and put that in a book form. And I'm going through and working on the editing for the graphics right now, which is taking me forever. But it's going to be called Service Dog Pipsy Helps After a Hurricane.
Oh, wow.
Some type of variation with that. And so it begins with Nona saying, Pipsy, there's been a storm. People need help. And so the next thing is Pipsy with a bunch of stuff like a raincoat, water bottle, stuff like that. And then we start helping. And so, we go and Valerie was very, very kind to give us like blankets and socks and all kinds of things, sleeping bags, and just a lot of great, wonderful things.
Yeah.
And so I put that in the book, and I put like the supply run that I made to Kentucky.
Yeah.
But we did so many miles. It was unbelievable what all we did. And so I wanted to try to put that in a book form. And we talked about even when we went to a distribution site, we talked about there being people in line, and one of them happened to be Pipsy's friend, and he goes and talks to her, and she's sad. So he cheers her up, and things like that. So I've actually got a social worker. She's going to look at it for me, and she's going to see if what she thinks. If it's, I just want to make sure it's not like triggering for kids. I want it to be a comfort.
Yeah.
So yeah. Valerie said she got donations so she could go shopping.
Yeah.
Yes, she did, and shop we did.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is there any help for those with pets? Are you able to help anybody that was involved in the hurricane for their pets?
I offered, and I actually put out, somebody offered to send a service dog vest if we had a service dog that needed their outfit in case it got washed away or something. So
Well, I meant pets too, because I mean, some people were not able to stay at shelters because they had a dog or whatever.
Yeah, and I actually got really upset at the Red Cross about their handling of service dogs as well as pets. So what they did was, outside, they worked with a local rescue group who brought in crates. And so outside of the shelter, they had the crates set up on like the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So they got help that way. And then after the storm, I personally bought some dog food and gave it to a couple of people.
Yeah.
And then when the trucks started coming in that had dog food on them, I could network and send people to other organizations that actually had a lot more dog food than we did. But one of the things, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Veterinary care for their animals after, being in that storm and all that.
Well, that was a little bit of a challenge. In the city that I live in, there are 3 main ways in and out of the city. And at one point, all of them were blocked. So there was no in and no out. So the only thing we could do is they brought in supplies by Black Hawk helicopter. Yeah. So yay, military. Thank you, National Guard. So getting to a vet was really, 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 really challenging for a while. But I haven't heard of any animals that needed vet care and weren't able to get it. But we also had problems with communication. So for the first several days, our cell phones didn't work. Home phones were down. Internet was down for oh my gosh, probably a week. We had cell phone problems for well over a week. No electricity for over 10 days. No water for 2 weeks. So when we went out doing our supply runs, it took an unpredictable amount of time. For example, the hurricane came in on Friday night. Saturday, we were out trying to get some supplies because people didn't stock up here.
Right.
Nobody predicted it to be bad. So you couldn't prepare yourself. You couldn't prepare your animals. We had gotten a few things because we were coming up from Knoxville. And I told John, I'm like, I have got a really funny feeling about this storm and I'm not comfortable. So we went ahead and got a little bit of water in the RV and stuff like that, thinking that maybe at most we would have problems for like a day or a couple of days. We're really close to downtown in the tiny city that we're in.
Yeah.
So what we had to do to get out was, number one, of course, we had to wait for the road to be open.
Right.
And then it was like, it was really treacherous. It was slow going. Power lines were down, trees were down, tree limbs were down. The road was washed away in spots. Actually, our main highway, a portion of it washed away, and it didn't open until like right before Christmas from like September.
Yeah.
We got hit, Laurel, we got hit so badly that our kids, for weather-related events, missed 74 days of school.
Yeah, I can believe that.
So we actually had to get a waiver. So, it was really, really challenging to get out. We were very fortunate because I had the van at the time. I had not wrecked it yet. So it had higher ground clearance. So if there was like tree branches in the road, as long as most of the leaves were off of the branches, which happened during the hurricane because it stripped leaves off of a bunch of trees, then as long as they were small and I did it slowly, then I could go over them. So that was, but you still had to be careful. And then you might, just because you went through an area, you might have problems coming back because where Good Samaritans would go out and they would cut trees and get them off the road, more trees would fall.
Oh, wow.
So you just didn't know what to plan on. And so for a lot of people, that would have made it extremely difficult to get to a vet.
Yeah.
So
I was just wondering, like, Matthew 25 and Samaritan's Purse and stuff. I thought they said they were bringing in medical supplies for not just the people, but for the animals. So, like, if your dog needed to get their, up to date on their vaccines, they were bringing vaccinations in. I know Matthew 25 was doing that. Their state, they brought
in a lot of dog food and a lot of supplies. I really don't know what all they brought in. I'll be honest with you, because they were working. Our county was divided because like the main road washed away. US Highway 421 was just not there anymore. So our road was like really, really divided. And sorry, our county was really, really divided. And they were doing most of the work on the other side of the broken pavement.
Well, I do know Matthew 25, which I said they're original from Ohio. They took several semis filled with all kinds of, not just food, but like you were saying, sleeping bags, pop-up tents, and that kind of stuff.
And we needed everything. Anything somebody sent, we needed.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they were trying to, because you don't have to be a vet.
We still have the needs.
You don't have to be a vet to do the shot. If you're just a vet tech, you can do the. So they had a couple of vet techs that if anybody needed their dog to be vaccinated, they were trying to do that as well. So I was just curious on that part. Yeah.
Oh, I will say Samaritan's Purse has been, I didn't know anything about them, but I got to tell you, they were like first here and they are still here working.
Yeah. I've
been amazed. Yeah, I've been amazed.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, now I haven't seen them here in this country, so they may be in this county, so they may be working in a different portion of Appalachia. But we were all.
Well, you're in Tennessee, right? Because they were in Tennessee.
Okay, I'm in extreme northeast. So yeah.
Okay.
And let me show you what my backyard looked like.
Yeah.
This is my backyard, and
Okay.
those pieces of brush that are down on the ground, that's actually what we took off of my van where that portion of the tree fell on it.
What?
So, and that there's a green strap, and that's what we put Pipsy on when we're playing with him outside. But you can see some of the trees down behind me and those trees. So if you can imagine that multiplied and on the roads, that's what we were all dealing with. So yeah, it would have been hard to get animals to the vet. So yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. And here's another one also. That's also my backyard. And so actually no, that's a lie. That's part of my neighbor's backyard. But so you see the tree that's crossways there. So that actually held some more of the trees up, if you can believe that, because it was right up against the root system, and that seemed to help. Yeah, it was. There's a better shot, but yeah, it was. It was just hard for people to get out and get anything. So that was the inspiration for my book.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how this goes. Tennessee and Texas, Matthew 25 is. So
they went to Tennessee and Texas?
Between the two of them. So they're helping with Tennessee, and then they're helping with Texas.
Let me see if it'll tell me. Let me see if I can look.
They're right here from Cincinnati. They're actually stationed here in Cincinnati.
Because I don't think they're in my county. I really feel like I would know it if they were in my county, because I'm involved in 3 different. So if they're
Cincinnati, but they travel all over the place.
And let me tell you, we appreciate it. We even got a team, a mission, just to give you an idea how bad it was. They sent in a mission team from the Bahamas to help in the county. They actually stayed in my husband's church. Bahamas.
Yeah.
And like, we go to the Bahamas to do missions.
Right.
But yet it was bad enough that, they were here. So, which was really, I feel kind of bad for them, because they got here and then like 2 days later it snowed. And they had never experienced snow.
Right.
It was like, I'm so sorry, but what you gonna do? They did great, but they were like, okay, we're over it.
Well, when you get a chance, go to Matthew 25. There's go on there.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
It looks like they may actually have a place in Middle Tennessee, in Nashville.
Well, but the headquarters is here in Cincinnati.
Well, I got to tell you, I appreciate it, because we needed everything, and like I said, we still have needs. We still have families that we're getting trailers for. And go ahead.
Did Morristown get affected by that or not?
Not anywhere near as badly as we did. They had, their flooding was much more minor, and the trees and stuff that they had down, that was much more smaller scale. I don't even know if their kids even had to get out of school.
Okay.
If they did, I don't think it would have been more than a day or two.
Yeah, well, I've somehow lost contact with my friend that lives down there, so I was just wondering how that area was affected by it. But yeah.
And the way the storm came up, it came up through western North Carolina, and so it clipped eastern Tennessee and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really more of where it was.
Oh, okay.
Morristown was just a little toward the west.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Well, I'll let you go.
Thank you for
But
coming in.
yeah. So hopefully we'll get more people. I'm gonna try to tell people next time on my Facebook page. These crazy headaches have been so bad. I haven't even been doing much on my social media myself. So, but
Well,
yeah,
hopefully your headaches will feel
yeah,
better.
yeah.
So
All
okay.
right, then. Good night.
Good night. You take care. Thank you again for coming in.
Well,
And
my
everybody,
pleasure.
if you're still watching at this point,
Yes.
don't
Good night,
forget to
everyone.
share it. Make sure you subscribe. Give me a like on the video.
Yes.
And be bodacious. Don't
Yeah.
let life get in the way of living. That's what we're all about. So thanks,
All
Laurel.
right.
You take
Bye.
care. Give Candy a pet for me, okay?
I
Pat her
sure
head.
will. All
Okay.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.